Hey, Wayside, this is Walt McCord here, and I want to bring you a devotional thought, and it's a devotional thought on perspective. During times of difficult days, like we're in right now, perspective is really important, especially to give you a sense of peace and a sense of purpose and meaning in the midst of difficult times. And that idea of perspective was just driven home in our life recently. We, about a month ago, had a severe storm go through our neighborhood. And for about 15 minutes, we had golf ball size hail that came down, and our roof was declared a total loss. Now, one perspective would be, wow, your roof's a loss. Well, what is this going to cost you? And it's our deductible, which is almost $3,000 till all is said and done. And you're like, wow, I don't have $3,000 of perspective. This is terrible. But another is we have an older roof, and we're going to get a new roof put on our house that costs $13,000 for $3,000. Now that perspective is, wow, this is a great blessing. I'm so thankful for that. And perspective also needs to be there in life with the circumstances of life. I'd like to just go to the life of Joseph and just a quick summary of the life of Joseph. Joseph was the son born in the later in life to his father Jacob. Joseph was the firstborn son of Jacob's favorite wife, Rachel. And Joseph was loved by his dad so much that his dad made him a special tunic, a very colored tunic, and like a coat. And this signified his love for Joseph and his value. Well, Joseph then, in his interaction with his brothers, tells them a couple of dreams that tick him off. They decide they're going to kill him. Well, they don't. They throw him in a pit. And the one brother, Reuben, intending to return and get him out of the pit and let him go home. But the other brother, Jacob, while Reuben's away, a group comes from a trading group that's going to head to Egypt. And he says, wow, instead of killing him, let's sell him as a slave. Let's make some money off him. And so they do. And all this is while Joseph is 17 years old. 17. And so now he's a slave down in Egypt, working in Potiphar's house. And there, Potiphar's wife claims that Joseph tried to rape her, which he did not, but still it looks bad. And so he has him thrown in prison. So now he's both a slave, a foreigner, and he's in prison. Things don't look real good, but I love what the Bible says about this passage. He said, but the Lord was with Joseph, and he extended kindness to him and gave him favor in the sight of the chief jailer. And the favor includes he's given reign over the different prisoners. And in the midst of that story, he then hears a couple of dreams of the king's officials. One, the cupbearer, and the other, the baker. And he interprets the dreams, and his interpretation comes true. But still, for the better part of 12 years, Joseph is enslaved, a foreigner in a prison. And we wonder where God is at all that. How can we have a perspective on that? But Joseph gives it to us at the end of the book of Genesis. These are three verses. Chapter 50, verses 19 through 21 says this, but Joseph said to them, do not be afraid, for am I in God's place? As for you, you meant this evil against me, but God meant it for good in order to bring about this present result to preserve many people alive. So therefore, do not be afraid. I will provide for you and your little ones. So he comforted them and he spoke kindly to them. Earlier Joseph had experienced God's kindness, and now he is able to extend that to others, and that's the case. And I would suggest even in the midst of wanting perspective, would you write a list of the kindness that God has shown you? For me, that starts with salvation, but it continues on a faithful wife, children that I enjoy, grandchildren that I enjoy even more. But there are so many things that I could be thankful for, and that changes my perspective, and it'll change yours too. Have a blessed week. Bye.